So I was picked up by my good friend Alexanne, who took me out to see the slide from across Portage Cove. And you could see the scar of this thing, and I could not imagine what it would have been like to have been anywhere near it and to hear it. But Alexanne was a good friend, took me to a breakfast and then out to her place, which has an amazing view of the Chilkat Inlet. And finally we get to see more of the mountains, which had been hidden for most of the week. This is starting off near the library, looking at the brewery, and then kind of just sweeping around the center part of the town. Different buildings. Saturday morning, pretty quiet. Again, all of this changes in the summer when things feel quite a bit more active. And then there's a strange little war going on. There is a guy who bought many houses and put a sign on it saying, "For sale by owner," because he didn't like the new mayor. And then one wag, Paul, put this sign up. Literally, this is the next day after that snowfall, and everything feels like it's melting already. And this is how late winter snow is. It turns to water very quickly. And so I took a walk in the woods near the cabin that I was staying in. There's a carving, which I believe was my friend Alan, who's letting me stay in his place, made that. But I just decided to take a walk, kind of to reflect, look at the quiet side of things, keeping an ear and eye open for any wayward moose, because you have to. But that's one of the things I love about being in Alaska, is that large animals like the moose, who are in many ways more dangerous than the bears and kill more people, mostly due to their stupidity with cars, you have bears and moose. There are actually wolves, two kinds of bears, and other animals that you need to watch out for. And so when I would go picking mushrooms, I would be very aware of the animals that I should keep an ear out for. And as Alexanne reminded me, that squirrels make a louder sound than bears do when walking through the forest. Squirrels just create all sorts of ruckus, and in the background you'll hear them cheeping away. But bears, you'll just hear a twig snap, which means you really have to listen. And when I go pick mushrooms, I'd hear a little twig snap and go, "Huh? What was that?" I did also see my friend Vanessa, who was there from the beginning, as well as Alexanne, but I didn't see her till later. But I remember Vanessa was in a comically amateur version of The Sound of Music, and she was one of the young members of the Von Trapp family. Later, encouraged her to go to L'Abri in Switzerland, which she did. And she happened to hit it during, I would say, one of the most rebellious periods among the students, kind of 2004, 2005, when there were quite a bit of, I remember, what was it? I'm not going to go into all those details, but it was great to see her again. And so we've been friends for over 27 years. And it's quite nice to know that, I have people who've been there that long. And I know Vanessa's mother and father, her sister, her husband. I've spent less time with their children. But now her children are in the later stages of high school. And so the circle goes around and around. And there's something peaceful about looking at the water melting underneath the ice. And if you come here in another day, this will look completely different. Another day after that, it will look different. At the moment, it looks like it's always been this way, but it wasn't. A week ago, it did not look like that. You didn't see the breaks in the ice, although there was water moving underneath it. So, yes, why did I love living in Alaska? Among many other reasons, I really liked the community. And one thing I realize is when you're in a place like Haines, it is the community which you connect to more than the individuals. That is to say, suddenly I'm meeting all sorts of people, most of whom I have not mentioned in the course of these library diaries. But you connect with them more on the level of you're in my environment. You're part of my community. You know, you fix cars. You work at the post office. You work at the radio station. You relate to them more like that than you do as individual friends. Which means, in a way, out of sight, out of mind. When I leave here, people do, of course, remember me. One person said, I heard you were moving. It's like, yeah, I moved 5 years ago. Very funny. But that's what it's like living in a community, because there are people out the road you never see. And maybe I was just one of those people. But I will be back to finish up this project in a few years, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.